GNASS. Two degenerates, both sides of the border. John Santino. Alex Lacasse. The Great North American Sports Show. Welcome into another edition of GNASS. Very excited, as you know what it is, everyone. It's Wildcard Weekend in the NFL.
That's super Wildcard Weekend, John.
Super Wildcard Weekend.
Super
Alex, you're starting to sound
weekend.
dude, you're starting to sound like Roger Goodell, man, hyping this up too much.
Well, that's me.
But
I'm Mr. Shield. If we haven't learned anything on this program,
you have too much excitement after Christmas, Alex. But speaking of that, when did you take down your Christmas tree?
Actually, I'm such a procrastinator. I just never take it down. So it's up.
You're always prepared.
It's up right. It's up ready for next year. Christmas in July, Christmas in August. Hit them all.
Buddy.
Buddy. John, you seem like an authority on this matter. When do you take down your Christmas tree?
I am not an authority on this matter, but I was having a debate about this. So for me, it's like I leave it up for like a little bit afterwards, but by New Year's, it's got to be down, man. It's got to be down. I can't have those vibes. Can't have the tree around. The dog's gonna be peeing on it by then. Got to be out of the house, man. I'm not like so much of a Grinch though. Like I know people that on Boxing Day, it's like thrown out the fucking window kind of thing. Not that. Can't do that though. But Alex, I think that's enough about Christmas for these days.
Yes, it was at least a whole show ago, John. Because it's Super Wildcard Weekend, and as we mentioned here on GNASS, John and I have everything you need to get ready for an action-packed long weekend of playoff football games. Can the Seahawks crash the 49ers Brock Purdy party? Will the Chargers be able to overcome their idiot head coach in Duval County down in Jacksonville? The entire world is on the Buffalo Bills facing the Dolphins with third stringer Skylar Thompson starting at quarterback. Full show note, this will probably be the first and last time we discuss Skylar Thompson on this program.
I didn't even know what that was before you told me.
But can the fish cover the spread? That's the $10,000 question today, John. Speaking of, John's Giants are going to look to send Kirk Cousins and the Vikings packing. And can old man Tom Brady get another playoff W against a team he's never lost to in his illustrious NFL career? We'll wrap up with our Super Bowl predictions. No This Week in Social Media this week, only because it's Super Wildcard Weekend. We got so much football to talk to. And as always, we'll wrap up with Degenerates Corner. But first, John, if you'll indulge me for a second.
I think we can. Let's do it, Alex.
The Red Sox signed their superstar Rafael Devers to an 11-year, $330 million extension last was the big breaking news out of baseball. And his reintroductory press conference was this week. And for a team that has been in last place 2 of the last 3 years, just lost its team captain, franchise leader, and the best shortstop in his history, man, were they whipping it out and stroking it at this press conference, John. They were bending over backwards, patting themselves on the back, and Chaim Bloom says, thanks for being patient with us. It's gonna be awesome. Excelsior.
Alex, you gotta take these little victories where you get them, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
No. Congrats, John Henry. You did literally the bare effing minimum this offseason in retaining the best or second best left-handed hitter in the American League. I think it's fair to put Devers there. And Yordan Alvarez might be the only other one I'd put above him. Dude's a killer. But it's, John, this fan base, the Red Sox fan base used to be the Fellowship of the Miserable. After Aaron Boone in 2003, we spent the entire offseason yelling at Grady Little for leaving Pedro Martinez back in the game. You know what? I want to go back to those days because, after winning 4 World Series this century, it's like everyone has been lobotomized here in this town. It's just like, now we're to the point where like, oh, well, we don't even, there's not a shortstop on the 40-man roster, mind you. And now we're talking
Alex, you have a shortstop. His name is Trevor Story. He's just not going to play baseball. Yeah, so I was going to say, he's just not going to play baseball for a bit. That's all.
who
Yeah.
probably knew he needed surgery this offseason, or at least at the end of the season. And Bob Nightingale reported that, and some of the Kiki Hernandez and other players have refuted that. But nonetheless, it's just everybody in baseball knew this guy had a bum elbow. And Chaim Bloom's going to tell you that this is a new injury. Like, give me a break. And so now we have people in this fan base saying, like, "Well, do we go after Elvis Andrus or Jose Iglesias to start as shortstop?" Like, there's not a shortstop on the 40-man roster. Like, we had the guy that won the last 5 Silver Sluggers in the American League at shortstop playing. Like, all you had to do was pay him $160 million. But nope, we can't sign anyone to an extension. We don't want to take anyone past age 36.
Alex, but you did sign someone to an extension, and it was a very interesting structured contract with Rafael Devers, though. So do you think that there's anything else that the Red Sox can do, though, to sort of brighten your mood after losing the team captain, the shortstop, their Derek Jeter and Xander Bogaerts?
This year, no. This team will be in last place. I mean, you might as well just pack it up and not even play baseball for 3 years, because everyone, again, is waiting to 2025 when maybe Marcelo Meyer's ready. Maybe he becomes Corey Seager. Maybe Tristan Casas is Jason Giambi and Brian Bayo is Pedro Martinez. You better hope. You better hope, because the Theo Epstein pipeline, that's gone. That is gone. There is no more elite. Marcelo Meyer wouldn't be the fourth overall pick out of high school in baseball to flame out in the minor leagues. I don't think that's going to happen, but he wouldn't be the first. And that's a lot to heap on a kid who's 20 years old and hasn't played in Double-A yet. So, I mean, yeah, so we're pretty much just waiting until 2025. And I got news for Chaim Bloom. And as I've said it before on this program, he's not going to be around calling the shots by then. And so, I got also news for Red Sox fans. When it comes time to pay Marcelo Meyer, like, best case scenario works out, this franchise probably won't pay him. Because that's how this has gone here. So,
but Alex, you have his arbitration years,
right? Which, I mean, if Rafael Devers eats himself out of baseball by then and is just cashing his $30 million each year and going to the
by the way, is one of the most interesting structured contracts. The fact that they're paying him until, what is it, 2043 potentially?
It's into the 2040s for sure with deferred money.
Very, very Bobby Bonilla-esque vibes.
Yes. And I mean, I think there's a chance. I mean, the thing with Bonilla was he had a lot of injuries by the time he signed with the Mets, and the Mets had to structure that contract as such because Fred Wilpon was an investor with Bernie Madoff.
My bad.
Lost a lot of money there. So yeah, I mean, there's been signs with Rafael Devers where I think you can question his motivation. In 2020, the whole team quit. I mean, again, Xander Bogaerts, the only professional, showed up and had a respectable season in the pandemic year. And that's, what paved the way for you to get Marcelo Mayer, because he sucks so bad in the asterisk pandemic season. But Raf showed up and out of shape in 2020. JD Martinez, didn't even bother playing. Like, by didn't bother playing, he showed up and, got paid, but he was out of shape as well. And so if the team goes south fast, John, again, we're waiting around until 2025 because we can't make any more salary commitments. I think this isn't a safe bet by any stretch. And, given, I think the reason why the Red Sox paid Devers was because literally they had to pay somebody.
I think the Red Sox are playing the game of waiting until the Jays core is no longer under team control in 4 seasons, and potentially they're hoping that the Yankees will have aged out by that point. That's what I think.
Right, but again, at least the Yankees spend money. The Yankees.
No, the Yankees will always spend money. The Yankees spent a shitload of money this offseason.
Exactly.
But that will always be there. But I think the Red Sox game plan is go all in once those other cores in their eyes have aged out. But that potentially may not happen at that time. And plus, you're not accounting for the fact that these teams both have stronger farm systems than you. They could also just draft and replenish.
Right. Again, the whole thing with Chaim Bloom here is he was supposed to rebuild the system. I mean, I think we topped out at 11 in Baseball America. So many of these nerd GMs, they just sit back and all they care about is their system rankings going up in Baseball America. to hell with the the on-field product on the major league roster. It's like, no, you need organizational depth. All right, well, here's your organizational depth. How about no freaking shortstop on the 40-man roster? God, like, now we're gonna the prospect humper in chief Heim Bloom is gonna part with his precious prospects to trade for a Marlins pitcher and Miguel Rojas. Great, neat. Or Joey Wendell. Oh God, shoot me, John.
So before we move on to the NFL wildcard, Alex, quick prediction for the Red Sox this season.
Whatever their season win total is, pound the under. If it's 70 and a half, under 72 and a half, under. The Red Sox, the Red Sox are gonna be a non-factor for the next at least 2 years. So great. Thanks, Heim. Thanks, John. Love you. Oh, I think I smell. John, I might be having a stroke. I'm smelling burnt eggs here. So we might want to move on to.
It's okay. Just remember, the funds will replenish themselves when John W. Henry buys the Washington football franchise.
Well, apparently, I guess so. This one thing did come up in the press conference because in Fenway Sports Group is private, but members of their group, depending, I guess the investors in the group, Tom Warner said this, the co-owner of the Red Sox, that they are precluded from buying an NFL franchise, which I did not know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that either. But Alex, speaking of NFL franchises, let's move to a team where you might actually pound the under, or a matchup, excuse me, the Seahawks against the 49ers. The theme of this weekend seems to be backup quarterbacks, eh?
Yes, John, and you have career backup Geno Smith somehow making it to the playoffs, and Russell Wilson did not with the Broncos, of course.
That's fucking hilarious, by the way. And unfortunately, Nathaniel Hackett, just RIP to your head coaching career for now.
You'll always have the bad football segment named after your coach Hackett. So yeah, I mean, weather's going to be the big theme here, John. It's driving rain out in Santa Clara. It's going to be pouring all day. It's going to be pouring at kickoff, and I think, I mean, the spread's 9.5 right now, and I think that lends itself to it. Like, I think we're going to get a close game here, but that the Niners should take care of business.
I completely agree with everything you said. I mean, I fully expect that Pete Carroll is going to have this game planned out. I think that they're going to manage the clock, especially with Geno. Like, Geno obviously being a more apt dual threat quarterback, I think it's going to be a lot easier for the Seahawks to thrive in this game. I don't think they're going to win, though. There's just too much talent on the 49ers side.
There's the dynamic that these are division rivals, and this is the third time playing each other this season. So the teams, the coaching staffs, they know each other.
Exactly. And to a degree, home field advantage matters. And I think because of that, the 49ers will edge it out. But pound the Seahawks to cover 9.5 points in bad weather. Come on, guys. We know this game's going to be heavy on the run. We know CMC is going to get a lot of the ball with Brock Purdy starting. Pound the Seahawks to cover.
And I should note, it's 9.5 on DraftKings. I've seen 9 elsewhere.
It's nine in Canada.
DraftKings
yeah.
isn't the most reliable book. So if you like the 49ers, make sure you get 9.
Right now on ScoreBet 2 in Canada, for reference, it's 9 flat. But either way, you can I'm pounding like the Seahawks because I think this will be a 1-score game. Alex, let's move on to the battle of the franchise QBs because I don't want to talk about. Let's take a break between some of these backups. Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert, the Chargers versus the Jags.
So, we said this off the top, and in a vacuum here, I like the Chargers, but I think their head coach is a moron. Brandon Staley is a moron, and you don't like going for it on fourth down? There's going to be a 4th and 3 at midfield in the second quarter. Maybe the Chargers are up like 3-0 or something. I mean, I'm just trying to think of the game script here, and maybe they have a slight lead. And Brandon Staley's like, well, the numbers here say we should go for it and maximize our chance to win this football game instead of punting the ball, or like they'll have a chance to kick a field goal, something like that. And then the Jags, that will open the door for the Jags to get back in this game. I'm still picking the Chargers, and I know I'm going to regret that by 11 p.m. tonight.
Justin Herbert definitely has the ability to bail his coach out of a lot of bad situations. Like this season,
no Mike Williams for Justin Herbert either.
I know, out 2 weeks with a back injury, I believe it is, but still, Justin Herbert, one of the best quarterbacks in the game. I think even this season he was top 10 in completions. It was a top 10 season in terms of completions all time. So he can really manage this game, even just in spite of some bad decision making from the coaching staff. But Alex, I'm going the other way for this game. I'm picking Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. And let me tell you why. In the last 9 games, the Jags are 7-2. Trevor Lawrence has 15 touchdowns compared to 2 interceptions, and he's completing about 70% of his passes. We're seeing the emergence of the Trevor Lawrence we all thought he was when he was drafted.
Yeah, I mean,
This
what's
is the
that
guy.
competition though? I mean, that's a lot of AFC. That's the AFC South teams. That's Josh Dobbs starting for the Titans.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. There is a little bit of that, but at the same time, you still have to go out and perform, Alex. And we've seen plenty of quarterbacks go out there and not perform. And he's starting to look like a true franchise quarterback. And I think this is him knowing that this is like his first big stage, national television, his first playoff game. I think he's going to come out. I think he's going to have a big game. And I think it's going to be a close game, though, very similar to our first game, but probably a little bit more high scoring. And I think the Jags come out on top. Like, I think they keep the ball rolling. I just think the Jags, it's weird. They have momentum. They're feeling good. They have their star player back now. And of course, shout out to the running back Etienne as well, having a fantastic season.
Yeah, I will say, I think of all the games on Super Wildcard Weekend,
this is the one
I think I have the least conviction in. And if the Chargers had a real head coach, I think this should be a layup for the Chargers. Brandon Staley, there's a reason why this game's under a field goal. Chargers 2.5-point favorites, and laying points on the road is always scary as well. So
that's the other thing too. To your point, Jags at home as a division winner, so it's definitely going to be a bit tougher for the Chargers visiting as well.
Yes, and John, before we jump into the rest of Super Wildcard Weekend, we're going to take a quick break. We got Dolphins, Bills, Giants, Vikings, Ravens, and Bungles tomorrow, and a Monday night wildcard game where Tom Brady looks to do it one more time. So don't move an inch.
And we're back, Alex. I just want to say before we jump into our next matchup, thank God Tua Tagovailoa is not playing.
Right. I think given that if his concussions, the number he's sustained this year and the fact that he's still having symptoms now, like you can't play him like at all.
You have to start thinking about your future outside of football if you're him. And I really think, I mean, it was a bad look, just everything happening around his concussions this season. And I think for him, like, I'm not saying never play again. I'm just saying maybe just take the rest of this year off. Just recover.
Your season's over. I mean, by some miracle, if his 7th round pick out of Kansas State, Skylar Thompson pulls off what I think would be the most shocking upset in NFL history. I think even for the 2007 Super Bowl Patriots Giants, like the Giants played the Patriots tough in that Week 17 game. Like they weren't giving the Patriots the undefeated regular season that easy. And the Patriots were double-digit favorites in that game, but I think every smart money was on the Giants covering that game, and that's the last I ever want to talk about the 2007 Super Bowl. Just digging up all, just picking at all the scabs.
That knife a little bit more.
Picking at all the scabs today on Super Wildcard Weekend. So I mean. I don't think there's any world in which Skylar Thompson and the Dolphins win this football game. And so,
like I said in our intro, I had to Google what is a Skylar Thompson. I get that he has Jalen Waddell and Tyreek Hill. I don't see this game going very well for him at all, though. I think that this is a juggernaut Bills team. I don't think they're going to, like I said, wipe the floor with Miami per se. Like I think Miami's got a good overall roster, like in a strong enough base where they're not going to get,
enough to take those 13.5 points, John.
That's the thing though. Is it enough to, like, I'm just saying it's enough to not get blown out. 13.5 points though. I have a feeling Josh Allen can manage that.
I think anything under 2 touchdowns I'd lay. I'm not betting this game to be clear, but if I was under two touchdowns, I would take. I'd take
like Josh Allen should be able to manage 2 scores against the 7th round pick.
I mean, you have to think Bills' first, playoff home game this season. They were in the running for the 1 seed. You got to think Bills Mafia is showing up for this, and
not just that, weeks after the Damar Hamlin,
Damar Hamlin, and he's probably going to have a video on the jumbotron. He might even be there. He's out of the hospital on the sideline.
I think if he's healthy enough, they definitely would want him there, and just having him there, like that rallying cry alone, like that team's going to be fired up. Like the Dolphins are kind of screwed, in my opinion.
Right. And I mean, it is unfortunate for, obviously we want to recover, and there's no world in which he should be playing in this game. But for how good of a season the Dolphins had, it is a shame that their starting quarterback isn't
Exactly.
available. And
And
again, this goes back to the 17 regular season games. Less is more in the NFL, and when you play, if we're getting to 18 games eventually, more and more of these stars, just there's going to be so much attrition throughout the regular season, and 7 playoff teams, like someone's going to be shorthanded, and it's unfortunate.
absolutely. And one thing we're going to see more and more as as this goes on, having a longer season, is load management. It's inevitable. Like the teams are just simply not going to put up with not having star players available. And we're seeing it too, like with other matchups that we'll get into, but in the sense that star players may not be available for this game. And, you know, that head coach, whoever it may be, like in this case, it would be,
McDaniel,
Mike
yeah, Mike
McDaniel,
McDaniel.
but Mike McDaniel, but like Mike McDaniel is probably going to think twice next time, like in a week 16 or 17 game, if he already has a playoff spot locked up. And, you know, that's just the inevitable future. And all head coaches are going to be trending that direction, but it's conversation for another day, my friend.
Absolutely. And so, John, continuing in the NFC wild card round, your Giants, 3-point dogs on the road in Minnesota. You like them in the upset?
I do. I will tell you why. This is a contract year for Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. There's early rumblings that the Giants want to renew their contracts. I like the Giants game managing the shit out of this. And it's the whole vibes thing. And Kirk Cousins is just bad vibes, man.
It's not a night game, John. This is the 4:40 window on Sunday. So
that's true.
Kirk Cousins doesn't have the prime time. Heck, I mean, it's the playoffs. All of this is prime time. And I mean, I think I remember the last playoff game he was in. I believe it was the Vikings were in San Francisco and they got their doors blown in by, like, I think Jimmy Garoppolo passed like 10 times maybe, and they just ran the ball down the Vikings' throat in that game. Raheem Mostert had a big game in that when he was on the Niners. I like the Giants too here, and it'd be hypocritical of me to not take the Giants after all the Kirk Cousins bashing I've done on this program. And I think Daboll has a great pedigree as an NFL head coach, and Kevin O'Connell might turn out to be a good NFL coach here. I don't like his quarterback. His quarterback has failed in many big spots, and maybe he's coached some of that out of him. But I mean, Daboll, he's worked for Bill Belichick, he's worked for Nick Saban, and he's worked for Bill's guy. Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not the biggest Sean McDermott fan, but I mean, he's an experienced, he's a good NFL head coach.
He gets results.
He's a solid B+. Exactly. I just think Daboll is not going to put Daniel Jones in positions where Daniel Jones can lose this football game for his team.
That's one thing I was going to say about Brian Daboll is that he says that he may lack playoff experience, but one thing he's extraordinarily good at as a head coach is, Alex, we talk about it all the time. Sometimes it's not about winning, it's about not losing. And Brian Daboll is extremely good at not losing. That's just what he does. He's good at making these one-score toss-up type games, and I really think the Giants can do this. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to get nervous and blow his load. Straight up.
Yeah. I mean, I think the lower scoring game this is, and granted, it's indoors, it's in Minnesota. The lower the score, the more that favors the Giants. Like, if they can make this a real tractor pull, a real rock fight, then I think that only favors the Giants more.
I also think having potentially Xavier McKinney and Adoree Jackson back, that makes a huge difference in terms of covering Justin Jefferson. So not that they're the greatest, most shut down pair in the secondary, but it does help in terms of having two of your better players back to cover probably the best receiver right now in the NFL.
Right. I think if the Giants make the Vikings,
they have to make
if the Vikings can win this game without relying on Justin Jefferson, and like say Justin Jefferson just gets taken out of the game, you know, again, Daboll from the Belichick coaching tree here.
Exactly.
Take away your best player, make you play left-handed. I don't think the Vikings can do that.
I completely agree. And I think if the Giants manage to do that and the Vikings win anyway, I think that speaks volumes about where this Vikings team could potentially be headed.
Yeah, that would be scary. I think, if the Vikings show up here, I might have to eat some
Yeah,
crow on one
we're
Mr. Kirk
we're
Cousins.
we're gonna be eating a lot of crow.
Yeah, they'll talk to me when he makes a Super Bowl. Speaking of the Super Bowl, John, the defending AFC champions, they won the coin toss. They're getting this home game against the Ravens. You like them minus the 9.5 here?
I don't let I something about this game just feels like if I take
It feels
the
like you shouldn't like the Bungles this much, right?
exactly, and it feels like if I take the Bengals to cover, the Ravens will lose by 9. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the Bengals are going to win, and I appreciate the full confidence of Joe Burrow saying the window is his entire career. And
And
I get that,
still a mystery who's playing a quarterback for the Ravens.
yeah, they're being
John Harbaugh
coy.
was not committal,
Yeah,
and Huntley's still dealing with the shoulder here. Obviously, no Lamar Jackson. But I mean, if Anthony Brown is starting for the Ravens, I mean, I don't
you,
know who sucks more, him or Skylar Thompson.
yeah, and you got to think too, like if it's not like it's definitely not Jackson. If it's not Huntley, like you got to think this is basically like oh like this is you smash the money line in terms of like if you're like who's gonna win, you smash the Bengals on the money line.
Yeah, ideally in a parlay. That's
Yeah, and ideally in a
minus
parlay because
425 on the money line right now.
yeah, and if Huntley's out, it'll be like minus 900.
Right.
So
You got to think it's at least going up to 10 at least.
and it's unfortunate because this is another one of those situations, Alex, kind of like we
Do you
talked
think Lamar
about.
Jackson
Like,
should be playing in this game? Do you think he can play in this game?
if well, here's the thing: do I think he can play in this game? Maybe. I don't like. I the only problem with this is we don't know the extent of the injuries, and obviously teams are going to be super like.
There are some murmurs out of the Baltimore locker room, and
Well,
there,
Alex,
guys questioning that he should be playing in this.
Here's what I was about to say. I don't whether he can play. I don't know. Like I don't know the severity. We're not in the locker room. My guess is 50-50. If he should
I think if he wasn't on a contract, if it wasn't his contract year, and he didn't represent himself, I think he'd be playing this game.
Well, that's what I was about to say now. When you said can he play? I don't know. Maybe. Like I'm not a doctor, but should he play? If I'm him, no. No. Contract year, not playing. Not till I sign my deal. and you can't blame him for that. Like, what if he goes out there? Like, think RG3. That's the one thing that should be going through his head right now until he gets a secured, guaranteed contract.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
And RG3 was in that locker room with him, so he would know.
Exactly. And that would be my one view of that situation is like, can he play? Like, probably, but like, like it's one of those situations. The deeper you go to, like, you know that they'd make him suit up as well. But yeah, if I'm him, I'm sitting this one out until my contract's signed. And if I'm the Ravens, I'm basically backing up a Brinks truck to his house right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, because the quarterback money, like it's only going up, and I need a guy that can throw from the pocket if I'm paying him that much. And
Alex, you don't have to sign this guy to
Lamar Jackson is not a pocket passer.
He's a solid passer, but he's not an elite pocket passer. No, not by any stretch of the imagination. And I agree that he's one of those guys that probably doesn't age well because of size and game style. But you also don't necessarily have to sign him to a long-term deal. You can probably get by just giving him a shorter-term one, provided the money's there. And that's the thing.
We'll see. Yeah, and I mean, granted, this is all funny money in the NFL because they're not worth the napkin that they're printed on. John, we do have a Monday night wildcard game to round out Super Wildcard Weekend. My quarterback, Tom Brady, has never lost to the Dallas Cowboys in his career. Do we like the Bucks here to win at home as home dogs?
First off, I just want to quickly say, and this is a bit of a degenerate's corner rant, but fuck Tom Brady. This fucking guy screwed my parlay last week. All he had to fucking do was beat an Atlanta Falcons team that's trying to get the first overall pick, but this shitbag decides to take it off. Fuck this guy. But at the same time,
how about Lovie Smith in the last game of the season, going to get fired, wins the game so the Texans don't get the number 1 pick. Bravo.
That's amazing.
Bravo.
Just that one, and not just that, by 1 point. It was just amazing. Everything about that was amazing. But like,
Great job, Lovie Smith.
but
That's expert spike coaching.
exactly. But back to this matchup in particular. Fuck Tom Brady because he screwed my bet last week, but I like him to win this game. It's the Cowboys. Come on, the Cowboys on the road
Yeah,
on prime
we're gonna
time.
trust the
We're serious.
Cowboys
Like,
and
are
Mike
we fucking,
McCarthy
or what are we
laying,
insane? Come
laying
on,
points on the road. Yeah,
like
I
guys,
mean,
let's be real.
yeah, the Cowboys can be 10-point favorites. I'd probably still take Tom
Yeah,
Brady
I'm
in
taking
the
Tom
Bucks
Brady.
here.
Like either as long as Tom Brady is healthy for this game, I'm taking the Bucks to win this game. The Cowboys, whether it's Mike McCarthy, Dak, Ezekiel Elliott, hell, it could even be Mika Parsons, but I doubt it. Like
Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter talks about there are just general principle bets you have to take. Tom Brady as a home dog against the
the
Dallas
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Already did it, by the way.
You have to play it. It's just, I probably after the Chargers and Jags is probably the game that I feel least confident about, given what the Bucks put on tape and showed us this year. And
Holy, yeah.
yeah, their complete offensive ineptitude. But when they needed that, Tom Brady delivered in games that they absolutely had to have. And until he stops doing it, I have to keep going. You
Yep. And a down, keep in mind, it might be a down year for Tom. It was still an elite quarterback year by every metric of evaluation.
Yes.
He's still a very, very good player, even if he's not the very best player in the NFL anymore. And yeah, like there's no fucking, until proven otherwise, man. I'm not betting against Tom Brady against the Dallas Cowboys at home as a dog on prime time. Come on.
Kyle Shanahan would be a Super Bowl winning head coach by now if he just brought in Tom Brady when he left New England. And so John, we got our picks in. We have Kansas City, Philly looming for the bye teams. Who do you like going to the Super Bowl?
Ooh, so just quick shout out really quickly to the playoff bye teams, Kansas City and Philly. Philly, what a magical year they've had. Like one of the most fun teams to watch, even though they're a bitter rival of the Giants. Jalen Hurts in the MVP conversation. Just wanted to quickly shout them out. And Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, another 5,000-yard year. Just bravo to him, killing it for my fantasy keeper league team. But for me, my Super Bowl matchup, I'm sticking with it, man. I'm going. Actually, I don't remember what I had before the year. I'm going to take Kansas City. I'm having a hard time picking against Philly right now. I'm having a really hard time. All right,
So
I'll go Kansas City, Philly, and then I'll punt it off to you.
All right. I think that's that's reasonable. You get the chalk here.
Yeah.
I think the Bills and Chiefs, the fact that game will not be played in Kansas City or, theoretically, but the Bills, if they had played their full schedule, the game would be in Buffalo. I think the DeMar Hamlin, the emotional situation, like I think that can cut as a double-edged sword here. And Sean McDermott still doesn't have a great track record in one-score games. Just look at that Minnesota game as the as the barometer there. So I think I agree with you. I like the Chiefs to make it out of the AFC. In the NFC,
the problem. You go
I'm
first.
going to say the San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh.
With a caveat.
Okay.
49ers better not blow it to the Seahawks today. And the Vikings better not lose at home to the Giants, because you know what that means, John?
Oh, no.
The Giants, or excuse me, Seattle would go to Philly. The Giants would go to Tampa. In terms of a divisional playoff opponent, I think Tom Brady can beat Brian Daboll and the Giants.
I would think so.
If you're Philly, don't lose at home to the Seahawks. You don't want to go one and done to the Seahawks, right? What if Tom Brady gets Seattle at home in the NFC Championship game? I think Tom Brady would win that game.
Yeah, no shit.
Um, all I'm saying is there's a path for the Bucks to get back in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to bet it. I just throwing it out there. That is I think that there is a world where this happens, John.
Alex, we've learned our lesson to not bet against Tom Brady in these situations. So I think we'll just wait and see how that one plays out. But I do agree with you. I think the Bucks are a dark horse team to go on a very, very deep run.
So despite their troubles I'm officially going to say we're going to get a rematch of the Super Bowl from just before COVID, 49ers Chiefs. I think the Brock Purdy magic has to wear off at some point, and going up against Patrick Mahomes, I like Mahomes and the Chiefs to take care of business in that situation.
No, 100%. The reason I picked Philly is because the NFC, especially because of as we talked about, like it felt like the Bucks have been shambolic. I can't trust the Cowboys. The 49ers are without Jimmy G and Trey Lance for that matter. And like it just feels like not the 49ers, the NFC in general has been a bit of a shit show. So that's why I have a tough time picking against Philly, just because they've held it together for so long. And that's why I see it. But I can't, there's no world in which I see anyone from the NFC beating Patrick Mahomes. Like, I think this is his Super Bowl to lose. I think we're just again, I think when it's all said and done, he will be the greatest quarterback that's ever played this game. And I think we're just starting to see
the most talented.
Probably the most talented. I think we're
not the greatest.
Well, we'll see by the end of it. But I think
you know my bar, John.
I know.
You gotta win. Like, can someone retire with 3? Like
Alex, he's like 6 years into it. So just relax. But my point being is I think he has a strong chance at getting to what would be his second championship and building his legacy and making, at that point, he'd be a guaranteed Hall of Famer, but starting to get on that discussion of Mount Rushmore.
True. The only quarterback not in the Hall of Fame to win 2 Super Bowls, granted, there are guys like Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, who aren't eligible.
Yeah.
But the only one who's won 2 Super Bowls and not in the Hall of Fame is Jim Plunkett.
Interesting. But yeah. Yep. That's why I think I really do think like Mahomes sees these kinds of opportunities. Like, he's already kicked his brother out for being fucking annoying. So like I really do think like I think this is the start of his legacy, or not the start, but really like him elevating it that much more.
Oh, definitely. Alex, I mean, I think yes, he has the inside track to maybe be the second greatest quarterback after Tom Brady.
We'll see. Because this might be an argument of numbers, where accumulation of numbers, where maybe he has like one less championship, but if the numbers are that much more, but we'll see where it is when it's all said and done. Because I mean, if Tom Brady's any kind of and some of the other quarterbacks for that matter that have played until their late 30s or 40s are some sort of indication, Patrick Mahomes is going to be around for a little bit longer. And actually it's going to be a while longer. We'll see how it goes though.
Yeah, Alex, I mean, you accomplish a lot. You're a baseball owner. Like, yeah, maybe you call it a career at like 37, 38.
Yeah, maybe. But that would only, if your equity toy balloons to a substantial amount, but
I mean, it's the Kansas City Royals are not worth that much.
That's what I was saying. Like, it's not like he owns like the Yankees, for God's sake.
Well, I mean, he's only a part owner. I think
he's like a shareholder, but
yeah, less than 15% stake.
But Alex, I think it's time for everyone's favorite segment.
Sometimes she goes, sometimes it does. She didn't go. It's the way she goes.
22 black, 22 black. Son of a bitch.
The fucking way she goes, he said.
Oh, no. Why did I bet the company payroll? Oh, Gil's in a lot of trouble.
Can the boys beat the number? We'll find out on Degenerate's Corner.
It's the way she goes, buddy. The fucking way she goes.
It's time for Degenerate's Corner.
Well, John, if you've been betting these NFL teasers with me, it should be your favorite segment.
You've been making us some money, buddy. You've been making us some big, big money.
Yeah, so we got there fairly stressless last week. Chiefs only had to win by 2 or more over the Raiders. We got there. Jags had to win over the Titans. And Josh Dobbs, enough said. And Browns Steelers stayed well under 46.5. John, how'd your best bet do?
Oh, I told you about my little rant about Tom Brady. Fuck that guy. Right. But yeah, here we are back again next week. We're going to hit the well again, buddy. Because like you said, it's Super Wildcard Weekend. So
Absolutely. And what better way to mark Super Wild Card Weekend than going right back to the well, John, with my best bet, three team NFL teaser. And I took this earlier in the week. Maybe the numbers have changed slightly. So I got, and I mean, actually, the number is slightly better because Seahawks 49ers right now, it's the total's 42. I got it at 42.5, tease it down to 36.5. So we just need to go over there, driving rain. But I mean, I think the 49ers should be able to run all over the Seahawks here at least. And they'll get some scoring. And then, I think that Seahawks aren't going to go quietly into the night. So, hopefully you get, at least like a couple touchdowns there. Bills, they are still actually, like I said, they're 13.5 point favorites now. I got them at 13. Tease them down to just need to win by more than a touchdown over the Dolphins. So I got the Bills at -7. And then Chargers Jags, we tease the over down from 47.5 to 41.5. Right now, that number is still 40. It's 47. So slightly better.
Very, very nice.
You could tease that to a 41 right now and still under the multiple of 7. That is 42.
I really hope that game's going to be an air show.
Doing math on air is very dangerous, John, but I hope I didn't.
Alex, that's why you got me.
So, John, where are you going with your best bet?
My best bet. So there's only going to be one thing on my best bet slate because I'm going to parlay all of the wild card games together for our wild card or our Super Wild Card Weekend parlay, excuse me. But my best bet is going to be Seattle against the 49ers. Alex, you've said it a few times now. It's going to be not exactly the best weather conditions out in San Francisco. And that lends itself to a game that would be more close scoring than I think some people think. Now, again, can't stress this enough. I think the 49ers come out on top, but I think that Seattle makes this a one-score affair. Seattle runs the ball. We know that they can manage the game. We know Pete Carroll, one of the best game planners in the NFL. So I think that they're going to keep this close, but again, like there's just too much talent on the 49ers roster. Like I can't pick against them to lose, but in terms of covering for 2 scores, I'm going to take Seattle. So Seattle will cover the +9, and that is at a -110 odd. Alex, what is your parlay, my friend? Because I'm sure this one's going to be a little bit wild.
We're going big on Super Wild Card Weekend, John. We got an 11-leg NFL and NBA parlay.
Okay.
So bear with me. I have the 49ers on the money line. I have the Chargers on the money line. I got the Bills on the first half money line just to get a slightly lower number at a -460 in the first half.
That's still a pretty fucking big number, dude.
Yeah, I know. But
well, I know, but parlay it with other stuff.
The full game money line number. I have Giants. I take the Giants on the money line. I really like the Giants here.
I do, yeah.
So got a dog in there. We get the Bungles on the money line over the Ravens. Took I have the Bucks today over the Cowboys. Excuse me, Bucks or Monday. Jesus, Monday on the money line. They're home dogs, as we mentioned. Celtics on the money line over the Hornets tonight. No Jaylen Brown. Celtics should still take care of business. They're down in Charlotte for 2 games. The Charlotte blows. Grizzlies on the money line over the Pacers. I think it's still no Tyrese Halliburton there. John didn't like his Raptors tonight, so I took the Hawks at +6.5.
I don't like my Raptors any night.
Cavs on the money line. Timberwolves are second night of a back-to-back. Cleveland's a better team anyway, so we got them as a road favorite. And Mavericks, they are a small dog up in Portland tonight, but we took them on the money line +100. Luke is the best player on the floor. Should be able to take care of business.
And obviously Dallas starting around in a form. So hopefully Luka comes out with an MVP, make me a lot of money.
Yes.
But
and altogether that's plus 154.96.
Oh, there you go, buddy. Mine is not as juicy as that. Like I said, I'm going to parlay all the NFL wildcard weekend games together. We're going to take our Seattle covering +9. We're going to hit it with the Jags Jags money line, excuse me. Because like I said, Trevor Lawrence, hot as a pistol entering this game. I think the Jags come out on top. Bills money line, because this one's a gimme. Giants money line. Alex, I think we talked about this one. Like, the Vikings, like, if the Giants can just shut down Justin Jefferson, I think they got
Not
this
even
one in the
shut
bag.
down, like, you know, keep
Like
him
just
under,
limit him. Yeah. Like
keep
limit
it
him
under
at
like 8 catches and, you know, 120 yards, and you should be fine.
That's what I was gonna say. Like 120. If they can keep him under 120, I think they're good. The Bengals on the money line, just because again, like another, as long as Lamar Jackson's out, I don't think the Ravens stand a chance in this one. And like we talked about, you don't bet against Tom Brady when he plays the Cowboys in prime time. You just don't. And so I'm going to take the Bucks on the money line as well. That gives
Crossing
you a total
streams with the Seattle Seahawks and 2 bets, John. Living dangerously.
I know. But that gives you a total odd of plus 28.49. So decent odds, my friend. Decent odds.
And may those odds forever be in your favor, John.
Thank you, Alex, and you as well, my friend.
Why, thank you.
But any closing thoughts for our listeners, our viewers, our subscribers, depending on where you get your media?
Red Sox season total under. Hang on. Let me find it. Let me find. Do they have a future here? Oh, I can't even take DraftKings. You stupid. Can't even. No MLB futures yet. Jesus. Anyways, yeah. Whatever the Red Sox season total is, pound the under.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and of course, if you see any double-digit dogs, always take a strong look at the odds. All right, guys, thanks for listening.